few weeks ago, I said I don't do my husband's laundry. And a lot of people are saying, whoa, 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 those are small acts of kindness. Why wouldn't you want to do that for your partner? But here's the thing. Small acts of kindness that are mostly domestic labor just add up to work at the end of the day. So here's a list of things that I don't do for my husband. You all know I don't do his laundry. He can do that himself. I do my laundry and we do the kids' laundry, but he does his own. I don't cook dinner. He cooks dinner every single night. I do breakfast and lunch for us and our kids. I don't pack him a lunch. If he's hungry, he'll figure out what he's going to eat for lunch the same way that I do.
So my husband decided to drain our joint bank account and leave me after so much controversy on my videos.
To all the men who have encouraged my husband over the last 2 years to divorce me and sent him endless DMs of divorce lawyers and words of encouragement through these tough times for him, today was the day he left.
I've never hated another person more than I hate the person that I married.
Almost every era disrespected love in their own way. But this one made it trendy.
Doing his laundry, cooking him dinner, making him lunch, booking his doctor's appointments, all those things, that's domestic labor.
I can tell you why I've stayed. Money. It's that simple. I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. I am a married single mom. That's what I am. Yeah, I don't work.
If my husband talked to me the way that I talk to him sometimes, I would be in a literal puddle. Sometimes I am so mean to that man, and he's always so kind. And I know that if he ever returned the same words and the same tone, I would cry.
Heartbreak used to be private, quiet tears, closed doors, and silence that healed over time. Now it's public. Every breakup has hashtag. Every emotion has an audience, where pain turns into content and validation becomes the new therapy. We don't heal anymore. We perform. Because today, it's not just heartbreak being posted. It's humiliation. Wives recording arguments, girlfriends mocking their men for views. What used to be sacred is now entertainment. Love doesn't fade quietly anymore. It gets filmed, filtered, and fed to strangers. People who clap for chaos, but wouldn't recognize real intimacy if it sat right in front of them.
And yeah, I know I can leave because trust me, I am leaving. But people can't just walk out and leave one day when you have kids and 12 years of life wrapped up together.
Yeah, his job's hard. Yeah, his hours suck, but he works. That is all he does.
I'm just gonna make a little update video because people have been asking. But my husband left the night that I posted that original video.
We used to talk to our partners. Now, people talk about their partners on social media. They vent, they mock, they expose, they shame, they record. And somehow, that's become normal. Nothing empowering about disrespecting the person you said I do to or a person you are in a relationship with. And yet, every week there's a new post, another wife clowning her husband for light, another husband checking out emotionally because he's tired of being laughed at, boyfriends and girlfriends throwing shade at each other online.
I got dumped and apparently the internet thinks it's my fault. I posted some pretty emotional videos last week, the week that was supposed to be my wedding, and the comments, brutal. My ex-fiance ended things 2 months ago, and I've shared some raw moments of me crying and just how hard it has been to still be in love with somebody and experience a tragic loss of the life that you thought you were going to be living. And the comments from men have been diabolical, to say the least. Things like, yeah, I see why he left you. No man wants somebody that posts their whole life on the internet. You're obviously insecure. You're obviously the problem. What did you do?
There was a time where couples handled things differently. Back in the day, if you had an issue with your spouse or significant other, you didn't post it. You didn't tweet it. You didn't go live. You talked about it. You sat on the edge of the bed in the dark where no ears were listening. And you worked through it. That darkness was sacred because it protected what the world didn't need to see or hear. But now, people turn on their ring light instead. They don't fix their problems. They film them. And the internet eats it up one broken marriage or relationship at a time. So let's look at these stories. Because when disrespect becomes content, sooner or later, reality comes knocking.
So on my main page, I made a video about how I didn't want to cook breakfast for my husband because I didn't want to go out of my way from making scrambled eggs to making a fried egg for him. And I said that he could do it himself.
I don't cook for my husband. I never have, and I'm not going to be starting today. I'm sorry. I guess he got, wind of the videos, and yeah, he drained our bank account, and he has told me that I have to leave.
My husband is mad at me because he walked in and he saw that I'm making breakfast, and I told him that this was for me and my daughter, and that if he wanted some, he needs to cook for himself. I told him I was not going out of my way to make breakfast for him. This is only for me and my daughter. If you're that hungry, there's a McDonald's down the street, or there's eggs in the fridge and there's bacon, and you can make it yourself. He's acting like this not cooking for him thing is brand new. I gave him a list of things that I don't do the day that we got married, and he was okay with it. So what's the problem now? I told him, if you don't want to cook, you could wait and see if there's any leftovers. If there's leftovers, go ahead and eat. If there's no leftovers, then I'm sorry. You're going to have to figure it out. It's not my job to cook for you. I'm sorry.
That right there, that's what I mean. That tone, the attitude, that, oh, it's not my job mindset. What used to be partnership has turned into performance. We've replaced, how can I make our home stronger, with, what do I owe you? We've turned love into a checklist, and when one box doesn't benefit us, we cross it out. This kind of pride doesn't build independence. It builds distance. When you spend more energy proving you don't need your partner, you slowly teach them to stop showing up for you. It's not about cooking. It's not about chores. It's about contribution. About how every time one person decides, oh, that's not my job, they quietly make it harder for love to feel like teamwork. And hear me clearly. A good man doesn't want a servant. He wants a supporter, a team player. Here's what's even sadder. This isn't rare anymore. It's everywhere. Women bragging online about how they don't lift a finger for their man. Men making jokes about how peace exists when she's silent. Everyone is talking, but no one's listening. We've made dysfunction look trendy. And you know what's crazy? If you call it out, you're the villain, you're controlling, you're anti-woman, or you're stuck in the past. Maybe the past had it right. Love wasn't about keeping score. It was about showing up. Back then, effort wasn't posted. It was proven. There were no audiences to impress, no algorithm to please. Just two people sitting in the dark, talking it out until it made sense. And somehow, that darkness felt safer than today's spotlight. And here's the irony. The same people who screamed, oh, I'm not doing that for him, often cried later when they realize no one's doing it for them either. We've built a culture that confuses self-worth with selfishness, and we're watching relationships collapse because of it. See, that's not where the story ends. Disrespect always collects its debt, and payment usually comes in loneliness. By the time reality answers, the apology is too late, and the audience has moved on. And just like that, the internet stopped laughing.
Number 1, I do not cook for my husband. I only cook for my children. My husband will be making his own breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Number 2, I do not help him pay any bills. So if he is short on the rent, on utilities, or anything like that, it is not my problem. I will not be helping him out. His job is to provide for his family. So I am not financially contributing to any of the bills.
I have been with my husband for almost 20 years, but about 3 years ago, I was strongly considering divorce. And on paper, I have an amazing husband. He is incredibly supportive. He's kind. He's loyal. He's a great dad. He's very hands-on. He's an active participant. He's always present. Like, on paper, what else could I ask for?
This is what happens when pride runs out of breath. When all that noise you made for validation turns into an echo. And there's nobody left to clap. Now she's crying. She's not talking about, oh, I'm independent. She's not saying, oh, it's not my job. She's not talking about, oh, I don't lift a finger. Because when love walks out, you realize it was never about the eggs or the bacon or the chores. It was about the energy. See, sometimes it's not only the action that breaks a man. It's the attitude that comes with it. You can tell a man no with love, and he'll still feel respected. But you tell him no with contempt, and something inside him changes forever. He stops arguing. He stops asking. He stops complaining. He stops trying. And when a man stops trying, that's usually when women starts crying. This is where a lot of couples end up today. Different stories, same root. Whether it's refusing to cook, mocking him online, exposing private arguments for sympathy, it all comes from the same place, a generation that forgot how to protect what's sacred. There was a time where marriage was a private covenant. Now, it's a public stage. People don't want to solve problems anymore. They want to post them. To them, it's easier to get sympathy from strangers than accountability from their partner. Every view, every comment, every you go girl online, it fades when the door finally closes. And the silence that follows, that's when the truth hits the loudest. And to the men watching, this isn't about blaming all women. It's about recognizing that respect is the oxygen of love. Once it's gone, nothing else can survive. If love has to compete with your followers, then what's left for your family? You know what's crazy? We talk about red flags, toxic traits, emotional maturity, but nobody talks about the death of privacy. Once upon a time, privacy was protection. Now it's punishment. People say, oh, if you don't post your relationship, then you're hiding something. No, sometimes you're protecting something sacred from a world that profits off of your pain. When did we start confusing secrecy with self-respect? When did love need proof for strangers who don't even know your story? Back then, couples argued, they cried, they had silent dinners and awkward mornings. But guess what? They worked it out together. There were no cameras, no filters, no trending hashtags. Just two people choosing to fight for each other in private. But today, the moment something goes wrong, people grab their phone instead of their partner's hand. And that's where everything starts to break. Once your relationship becomes content, your respect becomes currency. The more dramatic it looks, the more attention it gets. But when the comments stop coming in, you're left with the same problems, only deeper now, because you've embarrassed each other in front of the whole world.
My husband decided to be spontaneous and take me to the movies last night. And when we went to dinner afterwards, I was talking about how much I really loved the movie. It was so good. I was so excited to talk about it. And he looks at me dead in my face and says, "It was just a movie." And I immediately stopped talking. So the more I sat there and thought about it, I start crying. It gets really uncomfortable. And he tries to break the silence by continuing to talk. And I finally looked at him and I said, "That really hurt my feelings." And he responded, "It was just a movie." I said, "I was really excited to talk about it. You took me to see this movie on a whim. I've never heard of it, didn't look it up beforehand, and I really loved it. You picked a great movie." And I was so excited. And now I don't want to talk at all. Because why would I want to talk after that? And he immediately stops. He's like, "You're right, I'm sorry." And then he grabs my hands. He's like, "I'm not even being sarcastic. You're right, I'm sorry. I love when you get excited. It's just annoying sometimes." I recognize that he is trying and he is learning how to communicate with me. It's not an overnight process, but it is very painful. He's still new to his healing journey, so I just have to keep remembering that.
And let's be honest, men aren't built to handle public humiliation from the person that they love. You might think that it's a joke or it's a post, but to him, it's betrayal dressed as entertainment. And once a man feels disrespected publicly, he'll never love you the same privately. And this goes both ways, because when women lose respect, they disconnect emotionally. When men lose respect, they disconnect completely. That's why so many relationships today look alive online, but they're emotionally dead offline. The sad part about it is, we built this culture ourselves. We wanted attention, validation, applause, but what we lost in the process was peace and self-respect. So now we're watching people trade intimacy for influence and wondering why no one feels safe in love anymore. Love can't breathe where pride lives. It can't grow where every argument becomes the next hot topic on social media. And it can't survive in a place where respect is treated like an option instead of a foundation. In the end, it's simple. Respect isn't old-fashioned. It's oxygen. And every time you disrespect the one you love, even in small ways, you take a little breath out of your relationship. One day, you'll wake up and there won't be nothing left to breathe. So, before you post it, before you say it, before you try to prove a point online, ask yourself, do I want to win or do I want us to last? Because love was never meant for the crowd. It was meant for two souls, not an audience. And when love starts needing eyes to survive, that's not love anymore. That's ego wearing its Sunday best. It's been your girl, Rene here. I'll see you guys in my next video.